Hello! In this unseasonal video, I'm going to address the pressing question nobody's asking. If an XCD skier falls in the woods, does it make a sound? I don't expect my take on this to be of much interest to many people out there, but it is tangentially related to some things that have come up in the online forum world recently. And it's a good summertime excuse for me to keep thinking about skiing, so here goes. To me, there are several ways to approach this all-important question. And I want to start by dealing with the original question that inspires the spin-off. If a tree falls in the woods and nobody is there to hear it, does it make a sound? That's an interesting question because it brings up relevant issues concerning the nature of existence. For instance, is existence materialistic, aka rooted in physical matter, as modern Western people tend to think by default? If so, then the physical sound waves created by the tree falling would constitute a sound. So yes, the tree does make a sound. However, if we operate from a functional ontology, meaning something begins to exist when it has purpose or function relative to other things, which is what some of the ancients tended to believe, then no sound has been made if no one is present to perceive the sound waves as sound. In this framework, sound is real, but it is nothing apart from perception. Sound is the word for an observed phenomenon rooted in a physical phenomenon. It's a little like Schrödinger's cat, where nothing is concrete until it is observed, and perceived existence is real but at the same time emergent from underlying quantum properties. I'm definitely getting in over my head here, but I think I've just talked myself into being partial to the functional ontology in this particular case. So anyways, as weird as that rabbit trail was, let's now apply this reasoning to XCD skiing. What is XCD? As some are wont to question, does it even exist? Well, if existence is ultimately material, then XCD skiing would exist as a result of gear. If someone uses, say, a cross-country ski to go downhill, then the ski itself differentiates this particular activity from regular downhill skiing, and one could reasonably call this cross-country downhill. Someone using cross-country skis to go down an alpine run after riding a lift could then be said to be XCD skiing. However, if we were to adopt a functional ontology instead of a materialistic one, then anyone using skis in both a cross-country and downhill application on the same outing could be said to be XCD skiing. In this scenario, the gear is less operative, as long as it makes sense for both aspects of XCD skiing. So plastic boots, still XCD. Wide alpine cambered skis, still XCD. Free heel? Well, yes, this is the non-negotiable. To some degree, the heel must be free, because some degree of freedom is required for the Nordic stride that defines cross-country skiing. Once again, I find myself partial to the functional ontology, but either way, whether the argument is made from the standpoint of gear or from how it is being used, XCD skiing does seem to exist. Any weakness in the term for conveying some exact, specific activity that's distinct from other types of skiing actually just proceeds from its greatest strength, that is, versatility. XCD skiing may not be distinct, but its inclusivity of all other forms of skiing is what sets it apart. I guess we already knew this since the term is really just a long hyphenated portmanteau of other skiing words. So back to the titular question of this video. If an XCD skier falls in the woods, does it make a sound? The answer is no. As we all know, XCD skiers have access to the softest backcountry powder available. This is the kind of snow responsible for those silent winter nights when fresh snow blankets everything, and any sounds are quickly muffled and ultimately absorbed. And in addition to that, we also know that XCD skiers are fools who ski alone. When we fall, nobody else is there to hear it. However, going back to Schrödinger's cat, the fall will be observed in a sense because we can't seem to ski but we film ourselves. And yet, because XCD skiers have images to maintain, especially those of us on YouTube, you will only ever see the best 30 seconds of turns we made during an entire day's outing, and nothing from the rest of the time we spent stumbling and face-planting into tree wells will see the light of day. So no, we still won't make a sound. Also, who are we kidding? nobody is going to watch the video.